Robertson. Oh, she's a heck of a lot of fun, Jeanne Robertson.
Okay, y'all, hey, this is Jeanne Robertson, and welcome to our weekly show. A little bit different this week, and we have been through, you just wouldn't believe what. With me, I'm in the car. I thought I'd have on earrings. Because until 1 minute ago, exactly 1 minute ago, Patrick and Tony working from my porch. I'm in Alabama in a car trying to drive toward Atlanta, get home. Oh no, 1 minute ago, I said, we're not going to be able to do it. We can't get in. Oh, wait, I just moved the screen up. Wonder if I should push. It says enter the something here. And Patrick said that would be a very good button to hit right now, Jeannie. And I hit it and we're in. So it's been over an hour that we've been working to get in. So I hope that y'all are watching. You there, Patrick? They've left me. They've deserted me.
I'm here.
Tony, are you in Burlington? What's up, bud?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm here also.
Okay, you got a good microphone, everybody, and I hope you can hear us. I am in a Suburban. We have just passed, Tony, I hate to tell you and Patrick this, we just passed Opelika, which means just a few miles ago, when you were working so desperately to get me on air, we were riding by Auburn. No, we did not get off and go get lemonade at Toomer's drugstore.
Well, it was good Auburn vibes that helped us through.
Okay, but let me explain to everybody what's going on. Are y'all talking? Are y'all talking to me?
No, go ahead.
Okay, because I need to fill everybody in, and then we'll start giving prizes away. But because of the weather and our thoughts and prayers go to the people in Texas and Oklahoma. There was a couple this morning in having the little free breakfast, such as it was in our hotel. And I said, where are y'all trying to go? And she said, we are trying to get home to Oklahoma. We've been gone 2 weeks. Our children have had total control of our house and everything. We've just got to get home, and we're trying to drive that way. And I said, we're driving the other way toward North Carolina. So what we did was, in North Carolina, we did not get hit like the others, but I had a show last night in Niceville, Florida. If you don't know where, a lot of you were there, and I appreciate it. If you don't know where that is, it's right down on the coast in the Panhandle, where Destin is located. Eglin Airport. We were right at Eglin, Fort Walton Beach. It's beautiful. I hate to tell y'all how pretty it was down there. But on Thursday, the storm had come into North Carolina. Greensboro Airport, which is just a few miles to our right if we get to the interstate, was shut down. The storm, it was moving fast, but it was still shut down. We were afraid to try to fly through Atlanta. I thought I would get stuck in Atlanta or I'll be stuck. So we had a flight out of Raleigh. At the same time, Raleigh looked like the storm wasn't going there. But I got scared that we would still fly to Atlanta, get stuck in Atlanta trying to rent a car when everybody in the South is trying to rent cars to get places, and then driving 6 hours by myself to Niceville. So I have a friend named Lynn. A lot of you know her, and her husband Keith. They're friends of ours, and they have done a lot to help Left Brain through his illness. And so I said, Keith, you want to drive me on this trip? And he's done this before. Patrick's done it before. A lot of people have helped us out. So we got to the interstate just blocks from my house. And we didn't go right toward Greensboro. We went left toward Raleigh, got on I-95 an hour later, and drove south. We were in 31-degree weather, which is freezing, of course. But I hate to tell the people who have been through so much, with every 10 or 15 miles that we went, the temperature went up. We drove to Savannah, Georgia, where we had called Jane Tucker from New York City, and also has a beautiful home in Savannah, Georgia, where she was holding out. And we went in there and pulled in. And this is when it's hard to call and talk to your husband and tell him this. It was hard for Keith to call and tell Lynn this. She was waiting with, what was it she had fixed for supper? Crab cakes, because she's a gourmet cook. And all the trimmings and this and that and the other. By the time we pulled into her house, we had been driving since that morning. It was past supper, and we spent the night. I said, "If you have 2 rooms, nobody's in." And she said, "Yes." And so we spent then yesterday morning, because I'm still trying to get to Niceville, Florida, which is back the other way. But we went further south, past Brunswick, past where some of y'all live, got on I-10. I did my radio show with Neil Steele live from the car, and we had fun. We always have fun. It was 1 hour. And then we turned right on I-10 and started a very long day driving straight toward Niceville, Florida. And it's I believe, isn't it the uh, Northwest Florida State College. The Maddie Kelly Theater there is gorgeous. We got there. We were so tired. Seemed like we'd been on the road 24 hours. There was a seafood place across the street. We went over, got seafood, and crashed until we went to do the show. Now, let me tell you about the show. Every state is different. They had last night, I don't know if you remember it, but when I had a show in Charleston in December. It was pay for view. You could stream it, pay and watch it. But we had 43 people sitting in the audience. For a humorist, that is devastating. You want to say, are you out there? Are you helping? And some of them were people like Jane Tucker, who I said, you got to come sit in the audience, help me out here. They had more than 500 people. They sold product. Everybody wore their mask. And when I walked out on that stage and saw all those people, believe me, it was just like a bolt of lightning. We had a great show. I had a ball. I think they had a ball. You'll have to hear from some of them. But I mentioned the Saturday show, and a bunch of people started applauding. I didn't know if they were the people who won the tickets last week or just people that knew about the show. And I'm going to talk about that show again in a few minutes. But so then when the show was over, back to the hotel, back crashing. Got up this morning before 6 o'clock. What time did you get up? 5. He got up at 5. My alarm went off in my room at 5. I hit the snooze button a couple of times. Ate the little breakfast there and have been on the road since then, heading back toward North Carolina. So that's what I've been doing. What you've been doing in the war, Daddy? So I'm as high as I can be because we got the Neil Steele show because of this. Then an hour and a half ago, we started trying to get on here, and we could not get on. And Patrick, I said, you are a genius. 1 minute, and Keith not helping. He's pointing to the clock like, I don't know that it's time for the show to start. And bam, we figured out, and I hit a button, and we're on. Patrick, you were very patient. Thank you. No comments. Not going to help me out in this car.
No, I was muted. So yeah, Jeannie was saying basically, you're a genius. I said, I'm not a genius. I just don't panic anymore like we used to 30 weeks ago. It used to be that when something would go wrong, I'd start running around pulling my hair out. But now,
Well, Patrick, are you insinuating that in this car I panicked at all? Jeez. I said, for the first time in a year, we're gonna have to tell them we can't have the show. So
actually,
what?
Jeannie, I was prepared to entertain.
Oh. So now I see why there were so many problems in trying to hook up. And look at this thing. We didn't have the right thing, so I stopped. Can you see this thing right here? And I went into a little while ago one of those. Wait, we dropped out. Wait a minute.
You're still there.
I'm still here. So I needed to be able to plug in, and you just stop at a place. Who's talking? Okay, so I went in, I said, I just need to get Keith. If you can just let me just stop, pull off here, and let me run in and get something to plug. This is not working. This is just not working. And I need a prong, just like a regular thing. And went into this place and got this for $43 just to plug this in. So then we got back in the car and we're trying our best. So you know what the best thing to do right now is, let's give away some prizes. Tony, you start pulling out of the bag. Now remember that at the end of December, when we started January, We said instead of letting them build up from last March, because we had thousands of people, we would go every month and ditch those and start again. So this is the third week in February. So at the end of January, we put all those over there and started a new green bag. So you have better odds of winning. And now this is the third week. And then next week, we'll be back home, and Liz Curtis Higgs will be our special guest. And on the internet, a lot of you know her. So, wait a minute, it said stay in the right 2 lanes. Did you hear that? We're still getting instructions on how to get to Atlanta. I know that. Okay, so there's the bag. And it looks like, Patrick, are you going to draw some winners?
No, Tony's got it. Hold on.
Jeannie, can you hear me?
Go straight. Follow the signs to Atlanta. You got it. All right.
Jeannie,
Yes.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Remember I told you that our business line was out of order. Our telephone line.
I do remember you telling me that.
And that was the AT&T technician who's in my house, my office, and he's fixing it for us. So if anyone's tried to call us in the last couple of days, they probably didn't get through. They got a fast busy, but it's being fixed right now.
Y'all realize there are 1,300 people listening to this.
I know. Well, I
conversation,
thought,
right?
well, they may be trying to call and they don't know why they couldn't.
Because I got
That's
some
who was on
funny
the phone.
stories to tell. The Tony, when this whole thing has been discombobulating, when did the phones go out?
When did what? The phone go out? I don't know exactly why.
Oh, I'm just trying to figure out what's going on.
Okay, I'm ready. Do you want me to draw?
Okay, wait. This is and everything in the office. Tony, have you got this something drawn?
I can't hear her. Yes.
You have this under control.
Yes, I do. Are you ready for me to?
I'm not
Are you ready for?
anymore? You got it. Let's give some prizes.
Go ahead and draw a name, Tony.
I'm drawing a prize winner right now.
Okay. This is just from the third week.
Okay. This prize winner is Jeanne Howard. I don't know where she's from.
Okay, Jeanne Howard. Jeannie's frozen up right now, so when she comes back, y'all just bear with us.
Who is it?
Okay. Jeanne Howard.
Jeanne Howard. Jeanne, you win whatever you would like because your note says you're reading Don't Bungee Jump Naked right now. So you'd probably rather have a DVD or a CD. Just email me at Tony, Toni, at JeanneRobertson.com and tell me what you would like and your address, and we'll get it right to you.
Okay, and Jan, if you want the book and us sign it to somebody else, Mother's Day, whatever comes up next, I get them all. But you can do that too, or a baseball cap, or whatever. Jeanne
That's
Howard,
right.
I think she's on a lot. I recognize that name. All right, draw another prize, Tony. We may be giving more prizes away today than we ever have. Go ahead.
Okay, wait just a minute. I got one. I know this person's won before, or at least is a good person, a good fan. Rosalind Forsyth.
Yep.
She says, praying for the followers in Texas.
Where's she
from?
I'm
not. She's in South Georgia. You probably just passed her.
Probably did.
Her note says, praying for the followers in Texas and other areas. We're having cold weather in South Georgia, but nothing like other areas. They get excited for a few flakes of snow. Okay. So Rosalind, the same thing. I know she's already got the book. If she'd like it for a friend or something else, just let us know.
It's so bad places, and people are going through so much. I hate to tell you, I called Niceville people at the Maddie Kelly Theater last Monday and actually said, I even called the Nashville people and said, you got to call those people down there. There's no way they can have this show Friday night. I don't see a way. This is awful. And he called them, and there was a pause. They're very professional at that theater. They said, are you kidding? It's beautiful down here. It just shows you a little bit of difference in geography if that's the woman gone right and gone left. So we do still care and know the seriousness for where it's happening. But y'all, it was like you're at the beach. And I hate to tell you how pretty it is today. We did not bring swimsuits, of course, but okay, that's good. I want to tell y'all what happened last week. If you think this is something, then people say, where do you get your material? So last week we had the charcuterie program. Did I say it right, Tony? Tony's working with a man at home who's trying to fix her phone. We had a
Charcuterie,
group of
yes, you
my
did well.
friends, yeah, charcuterie. So we had 4 or 5 friends come in, and we had all of this food, and you were almost sinful, but we had a bad storm coming in too. But they were just look at the food, and then when we said ready, set, go, they would have built these charcuterie boards, which are just like trays with crackers and snacks on them. Our mothers would have fixed, but they were beautifully displayed. In the end, Patrick's wife, Leslie Henry, won the award. Many people felt that my bestest friend, Norma Rose, should have won the award, but Norma Rose cheated, and we caught her.
And I was a judge.
And Patrick was a judge. So all of a sudden, we had heard the people, they said, we're out of grapes. There should be enough grapes for us all. We're out of grapes. And I said, that's all the grapes we have once they're off the tray. And all of a sudden, Tony looked down and she said, Norma Rose. And Norma Rose had a bag by her feet full of some grapes. And she said, I just got some because I didn't know how long. I was afraid they'd go fast, and I didn't know how many I would need. And we called that cheating. She kept the others from having that. So did Patrick, here's a question from Dolores Blevins. Did Patrick enjoy his dinner that night? Yes. As you know, we could not take that food and go down to the homeless shelter. The laws are that once you put food out like that, you can't just take it and take it to the homeless shelter. If it has not been unwrapped, that's a different thing. So the people who participated took it home. Didn't you have that for supper, Patrick?
Well, I did, and I enjoyed it for a while. But if we took charcuterie boards to a homeless shelter, that would be the new definition of the word tacky.
Oh, it would? Okay, I'm sorry. But it would be, y'all I know ate yours for supper. Everybody was trying to eat it, and we appreciate it. But Norma Rose, we loved Norma Rose, and I did think she had a pretty board. But she also had come over the night before and said, I'd like to see what Suzanne Smith brought over for the food. Suzanne was a person who blogs. Go to Crazy Blonde Girls, Crazy Blonde Life. And you can
Crazy Blonde Life.
Crazy Blonde Life, if you want to sign up, follow her. And she's local, and she has about 50,000 people who follow her. And we were trying to let everybody know what she did. So she brought all this food over the night. Oh, it was, she said, I offered to go buy it. And she said, no. I know that you don't cook. I will get the stuff. And I think she went places like Aldi, got the greatest stuff. And she knew where to go get it all. 2 or 3 grocery stores. Well, Norma Rose called me and said, do you mind if I run over and just see how you're set up for tomorrow? And I said, sure. What she did was she came and checked out what Suzanne had brought, and then she brought a bunch of other stuff in a big sack, this big, when she came in, a huge big, it wasn't a paper sack, it was a cloth sack. And she hid it under her table. So as her board developed, it really looked different than the other boards because she was putting on different food. Anyway, she's a good person and we love her, but she got disqualified. And many of you got upset. You said, well, but you liked Leslie's board, but Norma Rose, blah, blah, blah. Well, Leslie won. Now, here's what happened that you don't know. This is the rest of the story. You always say, when I die, I hope I go to heaven. And then you have friends that say, you'll be real lucky if you can get in. Well, I did something last Saturday that may keep me from getting there right away. But this is what happened. That you think this was close. We were on the porch getting ready to start the charcuterie show. All of the food was on the tables. Everybody was sitting around. We had 3 people shooting different cameras so that you could see as they worked on these charcuterie boards. And people said, "Where do you get your material?" Well, all of a sudden, as we stood there, it was rainy and freezing and bad out. But that was one nice thing about having those 5 or 6 people come. They all lived around in the neighborhood and they could come over. And as we stood there with me giving instructions, because we had rules such as if someone picks up something to put on her board, you may not pull it out of her hands. Just things you have to tell people while they do these things. Well, I don't really realize is right at that moment, the lights went out. No power. So we were minutes away from starting last week's show. No power. No electricity on anywhere. The entire neighborhood is thrown, of course. It's just one of those things that happens sometimes. And this is why I hope to go to heaven, but I may not get there. I immediately said, dear God, if you could, I don't ask for much, but if you could, please, right now, if you could cut the power on in my house, I would appreciate it so much. And the power came on. And everybody on the porch went, Jeanne. What they didn't know is I bought a generator. And they told me it would take 10 seconds for it to cut on. So when it cut off, I just quickly said, oh, dear God, please help us. And I talked for about 10 seconds, waiting for this thing to kick on. And when it kicked on, I wish you could have seen Patrick's face, everybody's face. It was like, I know she's religious, but I didn't know she was that religious. She's got a direct connection with God. So now, after thinking about it all week, people have said, you're not going to heaven. You can't. You used God. You pretended that you had a direct link and you knew that generator. See, Left Brain would not pay for a generator. When Left Brain got sick, I bought a generator. And this thing kicked on in 10 seconds, and I knew it would, and it did. But see, here's the thing. Everybody believes in God, has a different version of what God is. And to me, God has a sense of humor. And I know he thought that was funny when I did that. I guess we need to give another, what are you saying? Just keep driving straight. Follow the signs to Atlanta. So we're going on. Okay, so it may wind up being a piece of material. I don't know. So Patrick, gonna sing a song or we're going to, oh, wait. You are too funny. Carolyn Rutherford Sutton Creamer. You got a lot of names, Carolyn. But if you saw that happen last week and today, I am telling you that we were riding along and Keith was pointing toward the clocks and it said 11:58, 11:59. Like I didn't know the show was supposed to start and we didn't have it. So thank you, Patrick. Tony, do you have any more questions?
Am I on?
You're on.
Okay. Well, yeah. Why don't I draw one out of the bucket here?
That's the questions.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Let's see what I picked up. Oh, Sharon Robinson says, do you want to come up here in Hershey, Pennsylvania? We are about to get 3 to 7 inches of snow. Oh, that was last week, obviously. I'm sure they got that plus some. You've been to Hershey, I believe,
okay,
right?
Let me tell you about going to Hershey, Pennsylvania. When you stay at the Hershey Hotel, I've always remember y'all, I give theater shows like I did last night, but for years, this is my 57th year. For years, I just did, and I hate to use the word just did, but I did convention speeches. And a very big convention site is in Hershey, Pennsylvania. Yes, home of Hershey chocolates, which we all love. And every time you check in a hotel, that Hershey hotel, they give you a big Hershey bar. I mean, twice I changed clothes and came back and tried to check in again just to get the Hershey bar. But it makes you feel at home right away. So I've been to Hershey. It's lovely up there, but I know y'all have had a tough week too. That storm just went right up there. And when I was talking to the people yesterday, Neil Steele's show, Virginia got hit too. They keep putting the number of people that don't have power. Excuse me just a minute. This has been a long trip in this car. Oh, what are we in? What kind of car are we in? Suburban. We're in a Suburban. We just started. When we made the decision, this is the way Left Brain and I have lived for years. When we made the decision, we have to decide. We're not flying, we're driving. You just start slinging clothes into the car, Coca drinks in the back, snacks and the thing. So, and you got a Suburban because we thought we'd be head over ice. So that was a good question. What else have you got? Tony? Where does Tony go between the times I talk? She's gone.
Her phone's ringing again. So
if the man is trying to solve our problems in the office with the phone, she can do this. Should we do programs on how to run a small business?
Well, I'll tell you what everybody's seeing right now is exactly the way you all have been working for, 42 years. So
this is a good story for me. I love to tell it. Everybody in the Speakers Association knows Tony, my assistant. She's run my office for 42 years. She goes to every convention. She knows everybody. I get calls every month from people who say, how do I hire a Tony? And I have to say, you really don't. There's not another Tony. And Tony and I have always said, we let the business is not going to run us. We're going to run the business, which means if our children are in an assembly program, hers were always getting awards. Ours was once in a while, Beaver was too. But you go to the school. If they've got a sports, something they're doing, you go to the school. Well, at the end of the year, if they're getting things, you go. So we don't say, oh, I work. We just shut down and go. When we first started, Tony was playing tennis twice a week. And so finally, we turned on an answering machine. And then we thought we do have a pretty funny answering machine. And so we would just turn it on and go about our business. And then our husbands retired. That would be Left Brain, my husband, and her husband's Tom, who was an accountant. Doesn't even want things on the kitchen cabinet. It's somebody else talking.
Looks like no one lives there.
No one lives where?
In my house. Yes, he wants the cabinet tops cleared off. Very neat.
I go in Tony's house. I said, "Where's your junk?" She said, "I'm married to an accountant. I have no junk." So Tom retired and Left Brain retired, and they found out that we would just flip it on this answering machine, and Tony would call them back within an hour. She would be at ball games or diving matches for her son, and on the answering machine, calling people and booking dates. We just figured, why not? That didn't bother us. But when our two husbands saw this, they said, you cannot do this. This is no way. This thing is mushroomed into a big business. Y'all can't do this way. And Tony and I looked at each other and said, why not? We've been running it this way. Y'all get out of our business. You cannot have an answering machine. It's unprofessional. Hooey. We're doing what we want to do. So time passed, and some big bureau that booked speeches, they were friends of ours, and they called and they wanted a speech. And in the background, they could hear a sporting event going on. And Tony said, they finally said, where are you? Who's talking? Am I talking or is Tony talking?
No, you're getting some echo.
Okay. Is there another person in this car talking? Have we picked up somebody on the, just keep going straight. Okay. So she heard all this sports noise, and finally the person said, y'all, somebody's talking.
Jeannie, you're getting an echo. We can talk about earphones later. Just work through.
Oh, do you want me to put on earphones? I got it all. So the lady said, where are you, Tony? And she said, I'm at a ball game. And the woman said to Tony, do you mind my asking, what are your business hours? And Tony said, we don't have any business hours. We just do the job. And the woman said, how do I get a job there? So this is the way we've run it. So Patrick's right. Now, y'all, I don't want the people to be upset and start clicking off. Sherry Harris says, please tell me that Isley is not driving. No, Isley cannot drive. She doesn't have a license. No, she's driving. Hey, Sherry. I just keep hearing other people talking. My car.
Jeannie,
Okay,
Jeannie,
hold on.
let me.
I'm going to explain this. So you're getting an echo, so you're hearing yourself talk. And next time we do this, I want you're going to have earphones, so it'll be fine. But just ignore yourself.
Jeannie, can you hear me? Can she hear me?
I don't know.
Jeannie?
I'm putting on your phones. I look like a
No.
pilot.
You do. You look like you're flying.
You tell me when she
Crazy.
can hear me.
Okay, so she's frozen up right now for those of y'all who are still with us. She'll come back here in a second. Tony, you want to draw a name?
Sure. Well, let's give a couple.
No, it all just came on. I'm gonna have to leave these on. Can you ask me another question out of the yellow bucket, Tony?
Oh, yes. Let me quickly tell you that our business phone is now fixed. That was AT&T again. And so everything's working, and they can call us if they want to.
But see, they already know you're not there, and they're going to get an answering machine.
Well, yeah, but they get to hear the answering machine, and we like our answering machine.
Okay,
here's a question. Are you ready for a question?
I am.
From Elaine Nixon Stevenson. Safe travel wishes to you. Question for you. How many U.S. states have you visited and had shows in, and have you done any in other countries?
I've been to 49. I've had shows in 49 states. Between you and me, I don't think there's a Rhode Island. They claim to be. They say they're part of the country. I have met people from Rhode Island, but it's a small state. I have spoken all around them. They go to Disney World for conventions. I speak to Rhode Island people down there, but to go to Rhode Island, I've never really seen Rhode Island. I've been to all the other states. I've gone to one of my favorite places is Canada. Go to Canada. Left, right, and I have been in every province but the Yukon. It's great. I love Canadians, and I get good material in Canada. And Mexico, all the islands, and you're looking at a former physical education teacher and an elementary principal, and just the idea that we can go and do programs and stay and see this country. And I believe in traveling abroad if you can, and of course that may be changing for a while. But I will tell you, for everybody, even the people listening to this show who are from, we usually have people from Scotland, we have people from Australia, we have people from everywhere, because I love just driving across South Dakota. I've spoken and had a show in Niceville, Florida. In 2 weeks, I'll be back to a pet show, and that's Tallahassee. We'll be giving tickets away for that next week. So, did you have another question?
Jeannie, someone said online, even Alaska?
Yes, I've been to Alaska. I've spoken in Alaska. And let me tell you what was so funny. Alaska came 2 places I was supposed to go, from Alaska to Nova Scotia. Thank you, Tony. I remember that you booked that. I would go to Alaska, and then I would go, the next program was in Nova Scotia. And people say, do you route yourself so it's easy travel? No, we take what we can get. And but Alaska, we were to fly out of Raleigh, and y'all, it was this week after 9/11, and we didn't know where we were going to go. I called the people and said, are your people going? It was women.
Can you tell her to let's give some prizes that she's cutting out?
Tony, why don't you go ahead and give a prize?
Yeah, let's give a couple prizes because we're getting, I don't know, Jeannie may be driving through a bad area there where she can't be heard.
Yeah, it's called LaGrange.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. We love LaGrange.
That's right. Okay, we're giving a prize.
They had their tickets and their
Okay.
hotel rooms that they were going. And I just stable internet connection. If you're on closer to it, something that flashed on my screen. Would y'all like for me to be quiet?
That'd be great. No.
Just long enough for me to give a couple of prizes. Okay?
Go ahead, Tony.
Okay. All right. This prize goes to Donna Bailey. Donna Bailey. Don't know where she's from. And same applies. Of course, you can win a CD or a DVD or a book or a hat, whatever you need or want. And wait a minute, let me dig deep. Beth Nauman, Nauman.
Give away anything you can. Give them those flyers.
Beth Nauman, okay? So those two winners were Donna Bailey and Beth Nauman, okay?
Hey, Patrick.
Yeah, we can see you. You're back. You're back.
Sing something till we get out of this bad sale. I'm waving at people when we go by. Gives me something. Why don't you sing? What are you going to sing? Then let me finish the Alaska story.
Okay.
We have a story for everywhere.
So one thing that one benefit of doing these shows for as long as we've been doing them is I've been making a lot of new friends out of your fans. And so, I mean, some people are such good friends that they'll just text my phone. I have no idea how they got the number. But I get email messages or Facebook messages all the time. And I've actually got some really good friends that I've made through this process. But it reminded me of of social media. Just social media has become such a big part of our lives that every now and then you get some people and we see them on these threads, the trolls. We call them Facebook stalkers. I don't even know your name. We've never said hello, but you tag my pictures and you like my Facebook posts. Oh, we're not friends at all. Get off my Facebook wall, 'cause you don't know me. You became my Facebook friend. You've endorsed me on LinkedIn. You instant message me, comment about my kids. Jeannie, we can hear you.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, Patrick.
Okay.
I was talking in your song.
That's okay. It's not the first time. It's okay. Let's see. I'm on hold again. Can't believe that I'm on hold again. In voicemail hell that doesn't ever seem to end. Can't believe that I'm on hold again. I'm on hold again with Muzak versions of hit songs from Barbra Streisand. Playing words with friends. And when I finally get a voice on the other end, it's Bob from Pakistan. I'm on hold again. Can't believe that I'm on hold again. In voicemail hell that doesn't ever seem to end. Can't believe that I'm on hold again. That's my ode to bad customer service. Are you back, Jeannie? Let's get you back here. There you are. Oh, looks like she may be frozen. Jeannie, can we hear me?
Can I talk?
Yes, please do.
Well, this is a running battle between Alabama and Georgia, but we are now in Georgia and we can't get any power. And it's a beautiful day. I'm not running Georgia down. I'm just saying we have left Alabama. We are in Georgia and we just passed the sign to Noonan. So are you still singing?
No, he's quit singing.
No, you go ahead. It's all you.
I don't blame you for quitting because I kept talking. I get
He
nervous.
finished singing.
So we're sitting in the Raleigh-Durham Airport, Left Brain and I, and there is one other man in there. So finally, he's looking at us suspiciously. It's 9/11 week, and we're looking at him. And finally, we said, "Where are you going?" And he said, "I'm trying to go to Vegas." And so I said, "Do you live around here? Because we do." And he said, "No, I don't. I live over on the other side of Asheville. That's like 4 hours away, and there's several airports between." And I said, "And you're flying out of Raleigh?" He said, "Well, my son found a cheaper ticket if we went out of Raleigh." And so here we are. And this was a gigantic jumbo Delta airline plane. The three of us got on that plane, and we were the only ones. And we went to Alaska, and I've always wondered, I hope he won something in Las Vegas. And he was not happy. He said, "I drove this morning, started out 6 hours ago to get to this cheaper ticket. I've used enough gas money that I didn't make it and save any money on the ticket." So I have been to Alaska. And then Left Brain went home from Alaska, and I flew to Nova Scotia. And the people in Nova Scotia, by the way, were welcoming so many Americans who were trying to get home from wherever they were in the world after 9/11. And one of the ways was to come through Nova Scotia. So they were very, very accommodating. So that answers that question. So keeping the show rolling right along. Where are we? Okay, for those of you who know this area of the country, we are coming to the sign that says get off of I-85 to go that way to Noonan and to go to Peachtree City that way. We're heading straight for Atlanta. So
Can I interject?
I didn't mean to interrupt you, Patrick.
That's okay. This is our first time doing a remote show, so few hiccups ain't going to cause a problem. Now, I will say this: we're getting a lot of comments about. We get a lot of comments about Tony's answering machine and your answering machine. I need to tell everybody that Tony also uses a regular typewriter too.
You're not supposed to tell everyone that. I also use a computer, but yes, I do use a regular typewriter. I love my typewriter. It's quicker than the computer.
That's right. So can you hear us, Jeannie?
Someday we might let them have
Tony, are you the only person in the world that still uses that repeater typewriter? When you give out a ribbon, what do you do?
I don't know. Maybe one day we'll give a tour of my office for the show, and you can show them all my updated equipment, like my answering machine and my typewriter.
When she runs out of ribbon, she's going to get her chisel and stone tablet.
I do have to go on eBay and places to find ribbons for it, but so far I've managed to stay in stock.
Well, here are the things we sort of have lined up for when we don't, but we have, for example, next week I've mentioned several times, and some of you are going, "Oh, you know Liz Curtis Higgs?" I do know Liz Curtis Higgs. We're friends. We've been friends for years. She certainly is successful and hilarious. And she will not be here live, but she will be on the big screen. And she's written 37 books. And she, for years, was a humorist, and we knew each other. All of us knew Liz through the National Speakers Association. And then she decided she really wanted to be a writer. And so we are excited about her coming on. We have also another name that you will recognize quickly. And that person we are just about yesterday in the car decided which date that individual will be coming on. So I'm going to hold that until we know for sure that is the exact date. And that person is actually flying and coming in. So, and we've talked to two other successful people in being funny, because that's what I love to do. and so things are lining up. And may I
So you
just
said Lynn Curtis Higgs has written 37 books.
Yeah, Liz Curtis Higgs has written 37 books. How many have you read, Patrick?
I hadn't read 37 books. I hadn't even read my book.
May I just, okay, that's right. May I just take a point of personal, what is it, privilege? Is that what people say when I take a point of personal privilege? To wish Charles Barkley a happy birthday, as I understand it. His birthday is today and he's 58. If any of you knows Charles Barkley, he would be the one person I would love to have on the show more than anybody else. War Eagle Charles. Anyway, he's happy birthday to him. Everybody that comes on, I say, do you by any chance know Charles Barkley? And oh, look at this, Win Detilio. I did Liz's DVD Bible study. It was great. So my niece Jeannie, named after me, no I is in the spelling, and her husband were in Germany and he was working with a business over there. And she called, she said, Aunt Jeannie, do you know Liz Curtis Higgs? And I said, I do. She said, we just did a Sunday school program for like 6 months, and it was Liz's work. But we knew her when she was a humorist, straight humorist, clean material, of course, and she's dropped dead funny. So she'll be here next week. What'd you say? I got to plug this in another hole. I'll try my ear. So we were saying happy birthday to Charles. Charles, War Eagle to you. I just think you're so funny and so classy. So if you ever need something to do on a Saturday, I'll fly where you are. So whatever. Okay, Tony, why don't we give some prizes?
Okay.
I'm looking at the clock. And what can you give the audio book?
I can
we give one
sure.
of those away a week.
Well, okay, this is for the audio book, unless of course they already have it, and then they can have whatever they want. This is an audiobook winner. Her name is Dorothy Hall, Hall. I don't know where she's from. Dorothy Hall wins the audiobook.
Holl?
Hall, Hall, like the hall in your house.
Okay, Hall.
Dorothy Hall.
Well, she won. So, we don't know where she's from.
Don't know where she's from. She just said, looking forward to seeing you Saturday.
Okay, so, we don't even know if she knows Charles Barkley.
Well, no, someone on here did say Charles Barkley with a question mark, like they don't know who you're talking about.
Well, let me just say this.
Can I tell y'all something funny? One car has passed us 3 or 4 times, and then they slow down and they walk back and try to look at us through the window.
They might be listening to the show.
Of when I went to the what? We got to work on this. But when I went to the Miss America pageant, the women that worked at Western Electric in our county decided a lot of women, they would take 2 or 3 buses. They would go up to the Miss America pageant. They thought I was going to win. They didn't do much up there. I certainly didn't even get in the top 10. But as they drove through Richmond, all of these ladies that worked together at Western Electric, they had a flasher in Richmond, Virginia, who saw all this busload of women. And he rode by and he started flashing them. He was lower than they were up in the bus. And some of the women said, just go home. I've never had anything like this happen in my life. This is the most exciting thing I've ever had happen. So I'm seeing this car. They're not flashing us, but they're riding by and they look in here and we're talking and carrying on. And they must think we're calling a ball game or something. So,
would you like a question?
You got another question, Tony?
I do. Here
I
we
would
go.
like anything to help me here.
Okay. This Diane Zirpolo, Zirpolo, excuse me, Polo. Have you ever been caught in a storm while performing and lost power? I remember a story about water in a place you were speaking, but not sure if it was from a storm. Was that your Kansas show?
Kansas City. In the middle of the Kansas City, unbelievable quick storm. I was on stage in Kansas City, and an unbelievable storm came in and hit downtown Kansas City, and people couldn't get over the bridges. But we were inside, and I was just being funny and had the microphone. I remember Linda Krim, who's on this show a lot of times, was there. They were watching. They came because they live in Springfield, Missouri. And the water was all that I became aware of was that there were people running around in the back of the theater. My microphone cut off, but then the generator, somebody said a prayer, and the generator cut on, and the speaker's microphone came on. It was the only power in the building. There were people running around with flashlights. But when you're on stage, you sort of keep going. And Al McCree walked out on the stage, and when I sort of got close to finishing, and he said, "The theater is flooding right now. Nobody's in danger, but you got to keep this going. They're going to start taking them out in the back, a row at a time." First, we took out people who were needed some assistance getting out. Perhaps they were in a wheelchair. They went out first. So what I did was, if you've been to one of my shows, we did it last night, I'll ask people for questions. And if I can't get the audience to laugh with my response, then they win a prize. It's two things. First of all, it's fun. I have no idea what these people are going to ask. And I do say nothing political and nothing controversial you can ask. But sometimes they ask the question, I'll just say, go get it. But most of the time, if I can get the audience to laugh, last night I asked for 3 questions, got them to laugh on all 3. And some of your questions are predictable. That night, I thought, what can I do? And of course, it popped into mind. I said, until they come and take your row out, water was around their feet, but we weren't in danger. It was also coming in by then on their heads. So it was a little bit of a dicey situation. And I said, ask me any question that you want to know. I know Linda Krim, being a person that understands the value of marketing, all of a sudden put her hand up, and I said, Linda, and she said, will you be back in Missouri anytime soon? She knew good well I was going to Branson in like a month, and she did that so that I could say, yes, Linda, I'm going to Branson. But the people just asked questions, and they slowly took them all out. And then they came up and they said, this an unnecessary note. They passed me a note that said, we're not selling products. No one should stop in the lobby. Get them out, get them out. When we got back a block away to our hotel, it had flooded too. So your question was, do those things happen? And the answer is, yeah, they do. And after 57 years, you just cannot imagine. Okay, now what is this? Jeannie, that car that keeps passing, you may need some of your Grey Poupon. Would you like some Grey Poupon? They probably think I'm on they probably think I'm on the radio. I'm doing the show. Maybe I don't know what they think. When they go by again, if they're Auburn people, because we're near Auburn, I could say War Eagle. The president last night and his wife, I think they're
president of Auburn.
They're what?
The president of the college.
Yeah, the president of the college last night. We were at the Northwest Florida State College. Beautiful campus. Beautiful Maddie Kelly Theater. The president came back, and this happens a lot of times, and they want a picture with the speaker, the person that's on, which is great. And these people had everything from Mamma Mia to Shakespeare. They've done everything down there. And it was Dr. Maybe Devin, but Dr. and his wife's name was Jeanne, I think. And of course, they came walking right up and said, roll tide, because they knew I went to Auburn. They had been to Alabama. They were very sharp people. They're doing everything right down there. So we're about to run out of time here before long. Tony, can you ask me another question? I think the questions have been pretty good. Wait, just a minute. Just keep going straight, Keith. Straight. You're going to hit the Atlanta airport exit in a minute. Do not get off. I will direct you. I know how to get through Atlanta. Okay, what you got? What's the question, Tony?
Okay, this is off. this is a question. I don't know who it's from. There's no name. We cut it off. We cut the name off, I guess. Jeannie, what was the make, model, year, and color of your first car? And can you drive a stick shift?
Well, of course, I'm
Did you?
50. I'm 77 years old. I can drive a stick
No
shift.
way.
If you're my age, you want to drive it.
No.
And the first
No.
car
I'm
I
older.
had,
I'm older than you, and I can't drive a stick shift. So not everyone can. But what was your first car?
you are
Well, I'll tell you what Jack's first car was. Your grandson. I'll tell you what his second
office
car
and you
was.
can't drive a stick shift.
No, I cannot. I've never had one to try to drive.
Damn shift. Okay. The first car I had was, y'all are gonna die. It was a Cadillac convertible. I was Miss North Carolina, and that was one of my prizes. And let me tell you what happened. Then when I gave that up, I got a Valiant that barely moved. I did not know of the 50 young women had to drive Oldsmobiles for the year. They did commercials and did all that kind of stuff. So I won Miss North Carolina on Saturday night. Came home on Sunday. We had a parade and all that. And on Monday, the Ford dealer, a friend of ours, called Daddy and said, we would love to furnish Jeannie with a Ford convertible for the year. We didn't know about all this pageant stuff. I'd never been in anything like that. And Daddy said that would be so nice because Daddy was already adding up to what this was going to cost us. We had a local dry cleaner who's offered me cleaning for a year. And the people in Burlington gave me, and Graham, gave me a furnished the basement for me to live in down there for a year. I mean, it was just, we were all so excited about it. And so Daddy said, that'd be great. And then they called the local paper and said that Jeannie will be driving a Ford convertible for the year. And we will paint on the side of it, Miss North Carolina. And then the pageant people called and said, you can't do this. And she has to drive an Oldsmobile. We have a Cadillac. And you understand, Daddy's from Luverne, Alabama, and went to Auburn. He's a small town guy who did well, but he'd given his word to his friend that I'd drive a Ford. And here we were 2 days into the pageant, and what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And so finally, he's just sat down and said to the JCs, I told my friend, he's put it in the paper. They're so proud. She'll just have to, can't you do something? She has to drive this Ford. And, I got special permission to drive the Ford, and I was the only one the entire year that drove a Ford, while the other 49 contestants drove Oldsmobiles around every year. But we felt like it was the right thing to do. And we did things like that all year. We were just bumbling along. But talking about bumbling along, Keith, see that domestic Atlanta airport on the what time of day? Tony, you're an expert. Go straight through Atlanta or take the bypass?
Oh, always straight through. Always.
That's what I say too.
Always. Especially on a
Don't
Saturday,
go on
but
the bypass.
always.
Go on North 85 toward North Carolina. 85 toward North Carolina.
I'm sure Keith is so
I know that a
grateful.
lot of people have probably said, I'm ditching this show this week. We're just doing the best we could. And if I don't ever know who was on, when they were on, what was going in. Patrick, apparently when you were singing and it was breaking up, I think it was breaking up.
Not here, it wasn't.
No. And I kept talking. I'm sorry, Patrick. I really
It's
am.
okay.
And thank y'all for holding down the show. It's 1 p.m. So I think the best thing for me to do right now is to get off. And thanks to everybody who hung in here and listened to us. And next week, I'll start posting clips by Liz Curtis Higgs. And please send in questions. If you've ever had a question you want to ask a writer, an author, why she left comedy just to do this, what's it been. And she also has had a dramatic appearance change. How many pounds have you lost now, Patrick?
I've lost about 30.
Hello? About 30. You're lying, Patrick. I know it's 29. You told me yesterday.
It's 29.6, but we call that about 30.
Okay. Okay. Just stay on at 85. Well, y'all, that's it. And what a trip. What a trip. Thank you. And y'all have a great week. And send in questions to Liz Curtis Higgs.
She's a heck of a lot of fun, Jeanne Robertson. Oh, she's a heck of a lot of fun, Jeanne Robertson.